pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Samantha Flanagan here for Flanagan Law. Navigating personal injury claims on your own can feel like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. Don't let things fall apart. Protect your rights. Look for the Shamrock. Go with Flanagan Law. Online at flanagan.law.
What's going on, everybody? Philip Lindsay here. And last year, I went a little rogue and dropped a discount code from our friends at Hermes Worldwide. And you guys used it so much, they almost got mad at me. Well, I'm feeling a little spicy again this season, so I'm bringing it back, baby. You can get 30% off your ride to the game with Hermes Worldwide for your entire season. All you have to do is mention the code PL30. Again, mention PL30 when you book your luxury transportation to Empower Field. And contact Hermes Worldwide at 303-577-7600 or visit ridehermes.com/DenverSports. Go Broncos!
Are joint pain or injuries keeping you from living your best life? I'm Dr. Joel Cherdak with Denver Regenerative Medicine. We don't believe in one-size-fits-all. Instead, we create personalized stem cell treatment plans using your own stem cells or donor cells to help regenerate joints, repair torn muscles and ligaments, and restore mobility. For a limited time, get 10% off through October. Don't wait. Book your free consultation now at denverregen.com. That's denverregen.com.
Hey, sports fans, did you know that O'Mara owns GMC on 104th? It's true, and now it's time to check them out.
That's right, and O'Mara GMC announces the lowest lease payments of the year. GMC Hummer, just $549. Sierra 1500, just $479.
Wow, lease a GMC Hummer for only $549 a month or a Sierra 1500 for just $479.
That's O'Mara GMC on 104th. OmaraGMC.com.
Stock TU 601245, 26 GMC Hummer EV, stock SZ 146350, 25 GMC Sierra 1500. See website for
I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. I think I'm some kind of football prophet.
Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies with national LTE coverage. Go to rapidradios.com and you'll get up to 60% off free UPS shipping. Add code RADIO for an additional 5% off.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Rolling to a weekend. The Bud Light Football Friday edition of Denver Sports Tonight. Glad you're with us. Mike Rice, Dante Gomez, your usual partners in crime on Fridays. How are you, DG?
Doing great, Mike.
Yeah, man.
Doing a little less than I should be.
Uh-oh.
I believe I won a bet from last weekend.
Yeah, well, you just went right there. You went right there, and you know, I've already, I texted you right after I lost.
Oh, Mike, you're ruining it for the listeners.
No, man, you know what? I pay my debts.
No, I know.
I try not to have too many, but I pay them. And congratulations. Dante and I made a bet last weekend. If CU or CSU, and CSU, if the Rams and Buffs both lost, I would owe Dante a milkshake. Frosty, I think we settled on. And the Rams and Buffs both lost. and I had to go for the double win. So I was on the short end of that bet. That shows I wasn't very smart.
No, you just needed any of the above.
Oh, I did? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Lost?
No, I was on the short end of the stick. Yeah,
So
if you would have had
smart.
either or, you would have won.
Okay. Well, so I just needed one win. I
Correct.
forgot what the bet was. All right. I do owe you a Frosty, and I will pay that off because you requested Monday.
I know. I requested Monday.
Yes, you did. You did. Let the record show. We're going to have some fun talking Broncos. We'll talk a little college football a little bit later on. We'll talk a little baseball at the end of the show as well, with the Rockies kind of making their change this week. Dante and I haven't had a chance to discuss that.
When you said baseball, you had me excited. I thought we were going to talk playoffs for a second.
Well, we could do that too.
And then you said Rockies, and I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. But that's
like,
also baseball.
Is that baseball? I mean, that's what you were thinking. Yeah, it's 4A baseball right now, perhaps. All right, let's talk some Broncos. You know, I love our guy Phil. You know, I listen to Zach and Phil and the guys in the morning and Dover and Cease all the time. And I was listening to the drive coming in, and I must say Phil almost caused me to get into an accident when he called it a must-win. Love picking on my guy Phil. I don't call this a must-win, Dante. I call this a trust win. And here's what I mean. When a team is trying to get from one place to another, and in the Broncos case, the examples are bottom of the barrel, climbing the pack to become a team that is regularly in the playoffs and consistently making deep runs in the playoffs. You take it a step at a time. We saw a good step last year, getting back above 500, making the playoffs, rookie quarterback. We know the whole story. Now the Broncos are trying to take another step, which is become that team that challenges for division titles, that is able to get home games in the playoffs and then make deep runs. This is a game to me about whether or not you trust the Broncos to get a win that they haven't been able to get in recent years. So the foundation of trust to me is faith. Do you have faith in the Broncos to get this win, and why? And that's what we're going to explore here for the next few minutes. You know, there's a really good book that describes faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So the substance of things hoped for, that's another way of saying like the foundation of things that you're hoping for. Well, I'm hoping that the Broncos become that team that we all want them to be, at least that Broncos country wants them to be. And have I seen evidence of that going back to last year, but also more importantly, through the first 4 games of this year? So Dante, I ask you, when you look at the Cincinnati game, we know that the Broncos played a team that is struggling, and that's an understatement. Bengals are bad. They're horrifically bad without Joe Burrow. They'd be bad with Joe Burrow, but he could overcome a lot of that, we know. But the defense is not good at all. Are there things that you saw in that game that give you that bolster your faith that the Broncos can get a win in Philly?
Yes.
Such as?
Obviously, the level of competition is not going to be the same as what we've seen against, or is what we're going to see against the Eagles in Philadelphia and the defending champions there. But to me, one of the big signs was Bo Nix's accuracy and completion percentage. I think that was very impressive. They threw the ball a lot in that game, probably a little unnecessarily, how many times they threw the ball, but I was really inspired by Bo Nix's ability to complete the passes, make the layups. He made all kinds of throws. So, again, it's going to be a different level of competition, but that really showed me a little something that, Bo Nix has it. He just needs to fine-tune some of this stuff versus some of the better opponents. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins ran the heck out of the ball, but I already knew he could run the heck out of the ball. We saw that every single game this season so far, so that didn't show me anything new.
But, the 100 yards was new.
Well,
actually getting to that milestone, which I thought was, I don't want to overdo this, I thought it was significant. I thought it was a good thing to get back to. Just get that century mark rusher.
Good to get the monkey off your back.
Right.
more than anything. To me, the actual number about it doesn't matter too much. It is nice that they, don't have to hear, you haven't had a 100-yard rusher since Latavius Murray back in January of 2023. So that was a great sign. But I knew Dobbins can run the ball. He's ran the ball really well all season. So that didn't impress me as much. Good for him for getting the 100 yards, but didn't impress me as much of. There were some question marks around Bo Nix going into that game. There was some question marks of, is he the franchise quarterback of the Broncos going forward? And I don't think we necessarily got a definitive answer after the Bengals game, but I think we're back on the right track to getting him to be that franchise quarterback for the Broncos.
Well, and what's interesting, just to stay on that topic of the running game, is that Philadelphia gives up 113.5 yards per game on the ground. That's smack dab in the middle of the pack in the NFL, 15th. And it's interesting when you look at Philly's stats. I said this to you before we went on tonight. I look at some of their team numbers, and again, we know we can slice stats any way we want and make them say almost anything we want. But there are some numbers for Philly that are just surprising to me. They're not dominant against the rush. I think they're good. I think they're solid. I don't think they're dominant to this point. Now, they've played some good teams. Overall, the level of competition, if you're going to check a box for who's played the tougher schedule, obviously Philly has to this point. But they're still giving up some numbers on the ground. That does give me some hope that the Broncos can be effective enough. I don't harbor any dreams that the Broncos are going to go in and rush for $1.25 against Philadelphia back there. That would be titanic if the Broncos were able to do that. But can they push 100? I think they could be around 80, and I think that might be enough depending on how and when those 80 come. But with Dobbins and what the Broncos have done on the ground, Dante, they're 5th. And I know Zach and Phil and some of the other guys have talked about this week. They are 5th in the league in rushing. They've played some bad defenses. We know this. So that's why I wouldn't anticipate the Broncos racking up 125, 140 yards on the ground. But I think they can have some success in big situations.
Yeah, well, if you look, when you said 80 yards, do you mean the leading rusher has 80 yards or as a team?
As a team. As a team.
See, to me, that might be too low.
Low?
The Eagles' defense is giving up 125 yards per game, 126 actually yards per game on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and if the Broncos have, what we think is a good running attack, and J.K. Dobbins is a upper echelon running back at this point, especially if you compare the production you're getting from him to the attempts you're getting from him, I don't see any reason he can't, or this team can't go for 125 yards on the ground.
See, and this is the trust thing for me, is that I'm still at the point where there's a part of me. And this is the history of my week. Right after the game last week, on Tuesday, I'm thinking, I really think the Broncos can go back there and win. And then I start looking at all the numbers, and then even worse, I start thinking about Philadelphia, defending Super Bowl champs, all the veteran presence, great D-line, great offensive line, at home, the Philly faithful, and I start going, I don't know. What are you thinking, Mike? And then the last day or so, I'm sticking with it. That'll give you a little teaser on my pick. But no, I mean, I agree. I'm trying not to get my hopes too far above where the Broncos currently are, which is, I think they're a really good rushing team, but I still put that asterisk of the competition. So I want to see them do what you just said against a team like Philly. While that defense may not be dominating against the run this year, it's still Philly, right? And it's still at home, and I'm having that's where I'm trying to get over the hurdle of actually seeing the Broncos do it.
No, and I think that's fair. So I guess you're more projecting what Philly's defense could be versus what we have seen from them.
Right.
But if you're going based on the stats that we've seen from them this 4 games, I think J.K. Dobbins can be in for a big day. So I'm with you. I'm very optimistic about the Broncos' chances going into that game. And it's not just me and you being, Broncos, quote-unquote homers, if you want to say it that way. Do you know what the spread is on this game, Mike?
I 4?
It is 3.5.
Oh, it's gone down then.
It has. Do you know what being home in the NFL is worth? in terms of betting.
I mean, typically it's a field goal.
It is a field goal. So Vegas is basically saying these teams are pretty even.
It's a virtual pick 'em.
Exactly.
Wow. Didn't it start at like 4.5 or 5?
I think it was 4.5.
Yeah.
So it's moved just a point there.
Well, but that's
a big point.
That can be significant. I mean, when you talk about that kind of movement, and I'm not the betting man that Zach is, but that means money was coming in on the Broncos.
Exactly.
Because
but even
the point spread goes down.
Exactly. But even beyond the moving, to me it says that a lot of people, or not a lot of people, they think these teams are equal on a neutral site field. This would be a pick'em game. So I don't think there's that big of a gap between this 4-0 Eagles team defending Super Bowl champion and the Broncos at this moment.
Yeah, and by the way, you were right. I had 113 for the Eagles on the ground. It is 126, so even worse. So now I feel even better. My faith has been bolstered by your stat correction, Dante. But again, you use the word projecting. Do I think the Broncos can run the ball effectively against Philly even back there? I do. I really do. But again, there is that part of me that wants to see it to believe it. And similarly, going back to your point about Bo Nix, he was 29 of 42 against the Bengals. Okay, we know the Bengals defense is terrible. That's 69% completion rate. Broncos do that. If Bo does that on Sunday, which he's more than capable of doing, especially given that they like to throw close to the line of scrimmage, at least they have to this point. I love the Broncos' chances. I really do. This Philly defense has had the reputation of being suffocating. I don't think it's been that this year. I mean, you go to what the Bucs did in trying to come back last week. You do, certainly what the Rams did the week before. They were good against the Chiefs at Arrowhead. I'm just going to say it. I think the Chiefs' offense is good. I never count out Mahomes. I don't think they're a juggernaut like they were a few years ago anymore. It's still a great win, without a doubt. But specifically to the Philly defense, you hold Kansas City to 17. That's impressive. I just don't know how great the Chiefs' offense is, even with what they did against Baltimore because of the injuries there last week. Capable, yes. My point is, Dante, I look at the Broncos' chances going in, and they have got a real shot. They have got a real shot to win this game. It's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be a nail-biter. I think it's going to be really close. But I want to flip it back to Bo, because you started there about, and we're talking about, what have we seen from the Broncos that gives us hope, faith, that bolsters our faith that they can go back and win it. And I look at Bo and the big picture coming out of Cincinnati that I really liked, and I don't really care that it was the Bengals, is just the overall flow of the offense. Wasn't perfect early in the game, coming right out of a timeout, or on I think a third down play they had to use a timeout, and there was some scuffling, if you will, and we've seen that out of the Broncos' general operations probably a little more often than we'd like to start the season. But Dante, once Bo rushed it in, you could just feel the flow and see the flow and just the order of things being much more efficient. Bo seemed to be much more comfortable. I really like that, because I know that's in him, and I know that's in this offense.
Yeah, and you're right. It did take a quarter there, or maybe a little less, to get his flow going, but he looked like the Bo that we've seen in the second half of his rookie year, last season. So if we get that version of Bo, I really think the Broncos can go in there and win. Bo hasn't played as well in some of these road games as, I'm sure we all would have liked. But just flip that on the opposite side, this Broncos defense hasn't played that great on road games as well. So big test for them. I mean, the Eagles' offense isn't world beaters so far from what we've seen this year, but it's still a Super Bowl champion offense that, put it on the Chiefs, and the Chiefs had a great defense last year in that Super Bowl. So, to me, it comes down to, are they able to overcome the adversity of being on the road and show that they are capable? Because we all know what's inside this Broncos team. Sean Payton before the season said, this is, the seventh time I've ever felt this way about a team where they can go out and win the Super Bowl. it's in them. It's just, can we see it on a consistent basis, and can they travel with it? Can they bring it on the road and not just play that well when they're at the friendly confines of Empower Field?
When you think about what a team has been and then what they actually are right now, which is what you were pointing to with the Philadelphia defense, absolutely a fair point. When you look at the Philly passing game, now Jalen Hurts is never going to be confused with Joe Burrow as far as pure passer. Dante, they are 31st in the NFL, averaging 138 yards per game through the air. Now, I know they've done a lot of things well, and they're not 4-0 by mistake. Special teams has been huge, but come on, 138 yards per game, even against what I would say is a tough schedule to this point, that is way below where I think even Philadelphia should be. Way below.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they're a little frustrated about it over there, but I don't know if it's going to get any better. The Broncos secondary has the ability to shut these guys down. With Pat Surtain, we haven't quite seen it this year like we would have liked to, and compare it to his Defensive Player of the Year season last year, but Pat Surtain is, to me, still the best cornerback in the NFL, so hopefully he can show that, and he tends to step up in these kind of moments. I think he really takes on the challenge when he's facing, an upper echelon wide receiver. I think he gets up for that, those kind of games and those kind of moments. So I think we're going to see a great version of Pat Surtain on whether he's shadowing A.J. Brown the whole game or they put him on one side of the field and he just kind of takes out that side of the field. I think Jalen Hurts might struggle throwing the ball against this team.
Well, and you talked about, Philadelphia being frustrated with the passing offense. Well, think about what they're talking about in Philadelphia right now. We want to see this team, or we want to get ready, if you're in that building as an Eagles personnel, player, or coach, and we've got to face the Denver defense to try and, air quotes, get healthy or be better or improve upon things. That's a difficult proposition. It's easy for those of us in Broncos country who follow the Broncos day in and day out, who root for the Broncos all the time, to really magnify the shortcomings and focus on the shortcomings. But if you're in Philadelphia looking at this Broncos defense, you're going, holy cow, they give up 186 yards per game through the air and 285 on average total offense. Now, I don't care if you're playing the Bengals or the best offense in history. That's impressive, man. That's impressive. And I believe it, just like I believe it's in the offense to stay in that flow and build on the flow from the Cincinnati game, I believe it's in this defense to carry over those kind of numbers against a team with the reputation and the pedigree that Philadelphia has recently.
Yeah, I would agree. And this Broncos defense and Vance Joseph defense in general, kind of known as that bend don't break kind of defense, and that's what we've seen all year. The Broncos have a fantastic red zone efficiency when it comes to their defense. Tops in the league here. So, however, on the flip side, the Eagles have the #1 red zone efficiency on offense.
Yes.
So to me, that's definitely, where the rubber meets the road.
Perfect this year.
A movable, 11 for 11. So when they get to the red zone, they are going to score. So to me, it comes down to who's going to win that red zone battle, because you're not going to take out the Eagles offense completely to where they're not getting to the red zone, but it's about when they get there, can you stop how successful they've been so far to this point.
Couple on the RamosLaw.com text line. You can join us there, 303-713-1043 from the 5509. Our secondary can shut them down. Moss is guaranteed to get 3 PI calls, and we have to hope that Surtain isn't like he was in Indy. Yeah, and that goes to your point, Dante, that, Surtain has had a little slip here from what his normal standard is. But I tell you what, even with Browning at quarterback, and yes, that was a factor, he shut Jamar Chase down. The Broncos shut Jamar Chase down. I think Riley Moss is going to be just fine. I think he'll be up for the challenge. Also on the RamosLaw.com text line, when you talk about Bo and his efficiency from the 94-60, 69% passing with 4+ drops. Absolutely. And those are the mistakes, Dante, that Sean Payton talked about 2 things as the season was getting started. He talked about improving quickly and cutting down on mistakes. And we've seen the Broncos improve. We've seen them start to cut down on the mistakes, whether it be the penalties or whether it be the dropsies and things like that, which are all controllable. And I just believe it in my heart of hearts that they're going to continue to improve in those areas to the point where they are going to have a shot. They're going to do better than have a shot to win. They're going to do better than have a shot.
I would agree with that. When it comes to, Bo Nix's passing attack, the only real reliable wide receiver we've seen has been, through all the weeks, has been Cortland Sutton.
True.
And Evan Ingram's been unimpressive, is I think a good way of putting it. Also a little injured. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
A little injured.
Troy Franklin started off hot, hasn't really done too much since.
True.
Marvin Mims has kind of just flashed here and there. Do you think they'll be able to have a successful passing game outside of Cortland Sutton? Do you think it's going to be a Cortland Sutton, 100 yards kind of game?
Well, I generally think, and I'll get to your question, but I generally think offense is going to be tough to come by for both teams, just based on where each offense is in the season and what they've done, and also the nature of these two defenses. The numbers for Philly aside, I still have great respect for that unit, especially at home, especially knowing what they want to get accomplished. But yes, I do think it'll be more than just Cortland Sutton. I do. I like to think, I have no way to know this, I like to think that Ingram was kind of working his way back, and he had 7 targets. He had 4 catches. I love what Mike Kliss told the guys earlier, our 9 News Broncos insider, on the drive, when he said it looked like the Broncos schemed some passes that Bo made it a point to get to Evan Ingram to get back involved, and I'm hopeful that they build on that because they need Ingram. I love what they did out of the backfield. Harvey with the touchdown, just kind of getting him in space. Yeah, Dante, the Broncos have a variety of options. Do I think Troy Franklin could flash against that Eagles secondary? I know the corners are very, very good, but I do think he can make some big plays. I don't think we're going to see the Broncos offense go crazy. Similarly, I don't think the Philly offense is going to go crazy, which leads me to my question. Who are you picking?
I got the Broncos. I think they go into Philly and give them their first loss. I have Broncos 27-26. I do think it's going to be a struggle offensively for some of these teams, so 27-26 might be a little on the higher side there, but I think it comes down to this Broncos defense. They're going to get a stop at the end of the game when they need it, and I think Bo Nix is going to have a good game. I think Dobbins is going to have a solid game, but more of a grinded out game for Dobbins. So a lot of carries, a lot of yards, but I don't think he's going to, have a high efficiency. I think it's going to be like a 4 yards a carry kind of game for him, but just consistently giving him the ball and giving this Broncos offense a higher time of possession, which they're going to need in this kind of game. So I think they come up big, and I think Jalen Hurts in this Eagles offense is still going to be pretty frustrated after the game.
Sometimes you just have to believe something before you see it. And that's where I'm at with this Broncos team. I believe that they're a good team that's going to get better, and I think a big, big step will be taken this week. I don't see quite as many points as you. I'm close. The first score I was thinking of this week is what I'm going to go with, Broncos 24 and Eagles 22. And I think they find a way to get it done. I think it's going to be a really good game, Dante, and the margin for error is going to be razor thin. I really believe that. I really do.
Yep, real quick, too. Yes. I'm calling my shot here. I don't know who, but I think either Marvin Mims or Troy Franklin's going to have like a 40-yard catch.
Okay.
I think Bo Nix is going to connect on one of those deep balls that's not to Sutton.
On the Ramosaw.com text line, stop at the end of the game. When have the Broncos done that? You got to believe, baby. You got to believe they're going to rise to the occasion against Philly. Will the Buffs rise to the occasion? Will the Rams rise to the occasion? We'll offer thoughts on that next.
Have Coach Prime and the Buffs established an unfortunate identity?
You know who the Colorado Buffaloes are? They're the Dallas Cowboys of college football. There's a lot of stories about them, and about 1% of them are actually about the football that's being played in between the half.
Oh, God. You know what that means then. Deion Sanders is the Jerry Jones of college football.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Brandon Stokel here from my team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Do you need a new furnace, air conditioner, or heat pump? ROX Rocks Heating and Air makes it incredibly easy with their new, free, no obligation online heating and cooling quote. It takes less than 5 minutes and gives you options instantly. No calls, no waiting, and transparent pricing. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Payton Manning here. Throughout my football career, staying healthy was a big priority, but bumps, bruises, and injuries were part of the game. And for me, it's not just the clinical excellence and expertise that sets a medical team apart. It's also the compassion, kindness, and empathy they show. At Common Spirit Health, healing is quality care and human kindness. And my friends at Common Spirit are teaming up with their partners to spread human kindness and create healthy communities. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Another summer is ended, and you may have noticed that your energy is lower, your workouts aren't as productive, perhaps you aren't sleeping as well and feel foggy all the time, maybe even your sex drive is off. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're experiencing some or all of these symptoms, it's likely you have low testosterone. And if that's what's going on with you, don't wait. You need to call us at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic and get treated for your low T, because living with low testosterone is no way to live. With our low T treatments, if you're like most guys, your life will change considerably. Improved sleep, better energy, greater gains in the gym, better mental clarity, and your sex drive will likely improve as well. Plus, most men see these results in just a few weeks. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
At Berg Simpson, we are passionate about what we do. We bring that passion and our expertise to the office and courtroom every single day. We're always working hard and are committed to doing everything we can to give our clients the best opportunity to have a great result.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives. It's not just a slogan, it's who we are.
Planning out your holiday pictures? Let's move you to the front because it's Soda Weight Loss. You could drop the belly fat and gain your confidence back, just like Ramon.
I used to dread those pictures. I'd position myself behind someone taller or make sure I was holding a plate so nobody focused on my belly. But that was before soda. Soda gave me more than a smaller waistline. It gave me back the confidence to wear what I want. And they make it simple. No injections, no hunger, just a plan that works.
Soda Weight Loss is built for busy people like you.
I lost 82 pounds in just 16 weeks. No hunger, no drugs, just steady, real-life progress with the nutritionist who helps you every step of the way.
That's why Soda has nearly 9,000 Google reviews. And right now, the most popular offer of the season is back. Join today, and your partner joins free. Visit SodaWeightLoss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Whether it's kickoff, halftime, or the final drive, fuel your football season at Dickey's Barbecue Pits. Order the 2 Can Dine for $29.99 deal. 2 meat plates stacked with pit smoke flavor. Or go for the new Triple Play Combo. A classic sandwich, savory side, and a big yellow cup for just $12.99. No matter who you're rooting for, great barbecue is always a win. Dickey's Barbecue Pit, legit. Texas barbecue.
Discover incredible savings at the Mountain High Appliance Clearance Center in Denver. I'm Brad Barnett, president of Mountain High Appliance. Our clearance center offers a huge selection of ranges, refrigerators, laundry, and more. Save up to 60% on open box, scratch and dent, display models, and overstocked appliances from Bosch, Thermador, KitchenAid, and many more. When you're looking for great deals on appliances, our clearance center is your go-to destination for the best prices and selection.
Mountain High Appliance, your favorite appliance store.
Thank you.
Football is here, and Fitness Gallery's fall football sale is your playbook for a winning home gym. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit any of our 7 stores from Denver to Fort Collins and score big before the sale ends.
It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike Rice, Dante Gomez rolling on a Friday, getting you guys to the weekend. Glad you're with us. So both Dante and I have the Broncos beating Philly. I was close to changing my pick. On the fan football pick'em contest, Dante, I picked the Broncos when I initially went through my picks, and I almost went in yesterday and changed it. I felt the faith staggered. And now that, you know what? I'm sticking with it. It's that old impression. Stay with your first impression. And I'm just believing the Broncos will find a way. It's a bit of a homer pick for sure. I want them to win. I believe they can, and I believe they are still ascending, and this will be a great step in the right direction if they can get it done. All right, the CSU Rams play tonight at San Diego State. 1-3 against the Aztecs, who are coming off a 6-3 win at Northern Illinois. Sort of been a tale of two teams for the Aztecs. They have a 42-0 win over Stony Brook, and then beat Cal 34-0. Beat Northern Illinois, squeaked by on the road, and then in week 2 lost at Washington State 36-13. I'm really wanting to see the Rams turn this around. This is a football team that's averaging 15 points per game. And on the road, I want to see it. I just don't see it, Dante. I'm fighting the downers with CSU, and I wish it were different, but just honestly, I'm needing to see I don't have much faith. To go back to that theme, I don't have a lot of faith in the Rams. I'm sort of the doubting Thomas until I see something, and I haven't seen it yet, especially on offense.
Well, Mike, we're on the opposite side. I like CSU tonight.
Really?
Yeah, and I was not a doubter, but they were favorites last weekend, and I picked against them. I thought Washington State was going to go in there and win.
And they did.
Much
to the chagrin of my wallet.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Washington State play. I watched the entire Washington State-San Diego State game this year. And Washington State, cruised to a victory there. I don't think San Diego State's all that impressive. I know they beat Cal and they got them, that night pretty well, but I think Colorado State has a good chance to get back on track tonight and beat San Diego State.
So you're much more of the I believe the Rams can do it. See, I have to see it to believe it with where the Rams are right now.
Well, it's that combined with I don't think San Diego State's as good as their record says. With
fair enough. But you don't. I mean, you see the Rams offense being able to do some things more consistently?
I do. Well, it doesn't seem like they have to do all that much. The San Diego State scored 6 points last week.
Well, that's true.
I mean, I'm sure they're not going to score 6 points again, but it's not the highest of bars to reach.
No, I agree with that. I just don't have much faith in the Rams right now, and I want to. I really want to see this team be better, do better. All right, when it comes to the Buffs, by the way, I'm not going to bet against you this week. You know that. I'll pay off.
You're a sore loser, Mike.
No, not a sore loser. I'm just,
you're going to take your ball and go home.
I'm staggering my losses is what I'm doing. And if you missed it earlier, I owe Dante. And you know what? I'm going to be generous, Mike. I may just do it for you guys on the drive next Monday. Just do Frosties.
It's really just about me and Drew. You don't have to do Zach and Phil if you don't want to.
Oh, listen to this.
Well, I love Zach and Phil.
Well,
but,
I know.
But me and Drew have spoken out loud about our affinity for Frosties. And we always ask Kevin, Chicken Fingers of the midday show to go grab us Frosties. He never does.
Never done it. So
when I won this bet, I was telling Mike that I'm looking out for Drew, and you have to get both of us a Frosty.
I will do that. I mean, Drew's my guy. You think I'm going to walk in here and leave Zach and Phil out, though?
I think it would be okay.
Should we put that to the text line? Should I leave Zach and Phil out of the bet? 303-713-1043 on the RamosLaw.com text line.
Not that I think you should leave them out, but I think it's acceptable to leave them out.
Okay. Oh, so those are two different things.
Yes. I don't think they would be hurt in any way if you didn't bring a Frosty for them.
They'd give me a hard time, though.
Yeah, they might give you a hard time to your face, but I don't think they care that much.
I don't think a lot either. All right, the Buffs will be at TCU tomorrow. The Horned Frogs were ranked last week, not ranked this week after losing to your Arizona State Sun Devils 27-24, Dante. Down in Fort Worth, Buffs are 2-3, kind of staggering a little bit up against the ropes, backed into a corner. Can they find a way to get a big road win? Listen to the pause right there.
Well, I wanted to decide. I know what my answer is, but I want to decide how I want to present my answer.
Okay.
I'll just be blunt. No, I don't think so. I think TCU's a pretty good team. I watched the entire game last week.
Yeah.
They went up against my Sun Devils, so Josh Hoover impressed me a lot. I didn't know too much. I knew he was, on high up on some boards in terms of quarterback rankings. He really impressed me with the way he can throw that ball. He can layer the ball as well, in between those linebackers and safeties. Those are great intermediate pass. Not the most mobile quarterback, but mobile enough. He can, grab a couple yards here and there, but which actually should help CU because they've really struggled with dual threat quarterbacks this year between Haynes King at Georgia Tech and last week with BYU and was it Bear Bachmeier?
Yeah. Yeah.
So those guys were really able to take advantage with their feet. I don't see Josh Hoover doing quite the same, but he is a beautiful passer of the ball, and I just think this CU defense has not impressed me enough to the point where I think the CU offense is going to be chasing a little bit. I would be surprised if TCU doesn't put up 30 points this week.
Yeah, I think CU is just good enough to be a team where they're sort of in that middle of the pack-ish kind of group, maybe on a little bit lower side of that. And so you have to take them seriously. You have to play well. I think Salter brings enough versatility and enough big playability to where you really have to respect that offense. And defensively, we know they've had some challenges, and I think they will. I agree with you, Dante. I think they will tomorrow as well. I don't see the Buffs winning down there. If this game were in Boulder, I'd be tempted to pick. In fact, I think TCU would probably still be favored. Maybe not, but I would think so.
They would be.
Yeah. And I would be tempted to pick an upset. I'm not going to pick an upset tomorrow. Again, I'd love to see it. I hope to see it. But this CU team, I do think the Buffs are going to get better. And part of the reason is I really think, at least for right now, Coach Prime has settled on Salter as the guy. That's pretty clear. And I think he will continue to show. And defensively, you hope that they can just kind of regroup and find some of the mojo that they had going last year. Haven't seen a lot of it, though, to this point, at least against better teams.
Yes, no, I would agree. And I think Caden Salter adds a floor to this team, that they're not going to be terrible offensively. They'll be middling, at least on the offensive side. But I'm with you. I think this CU team isn't ready to go take on a upper middle Big 12 team on the road and win. I think they have the capabilities of beating a middle Big 12 team at home. I think that's very, on the table. But on the road, I think you're just asking too much from this CU team. I just don't think they're there this season.
All right. So on the text line, it is close. From the 9676, Zach and Phil should absolutely not get Frosties from a bet they had absolutely no stake in. Had you won the bet, do you think either of those guys would be paying you? Heck no. All right, Dante and Drew only. All right. And then from the 8383, Frosties are about $2 a piece. Buy around for the boys for good measure. You can always build a little bit of, goodwill. You can always, that never hurts. From the 3824, I'd say get Zach and Phil a Frosty. Since it's acceptable to not do it, will give you lots of points. So if you do it, you overcome that. And by the way, from the 7878, we just got someone hungry for a Frosty. So there you go.
Yeah, Wendy's. Give us a sponsorship.
That's exactly right. Bring it, Wendy's. We love it. Hey, there's a real opportunity for a team in town, and we're going to discuss that next.
How will Bo Nix follow up his strong performance in prime time? Can Vance Joseph find a way to slow down Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley?
It's in the game.
We'll react to it all in the Fan Football Postgame Show, live on game day starting at the 2-minute warning. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
You worked hard for your 401k, but if you've left your job, your money might be sitting in the wrong hands. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and it's very possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan, and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call Trajan today at 720-405-3300. That's 720-405-3300.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Dan Jacobs with Jacobs Law on 303 Law 4040. Just got a great result for a client. Sam had another attorney who couldn't get her more than $20,000, so we took over the case and just settled it for $85,000. Another client, Travis, is like a lot of people. He likes doing business with a handshake in his word, not looking to sue anyone, but when the insurance company was playing hardball and refusing to even pay his medical bills, he called 303 Law 4040 and said, Dan, I hate to bug you, but they just aren't being fair. We took over the case, told the insurance company we would see them at trial, and they immediately more than quadrupled their offer, which was just fine in Travis's book. The insurance companies don't play fair. They aren't going to do the right thing out of the goodness of their hearts, so you don't ever have to feel guilty when calling 303 Law 4040. If you've been injured, we'll make them pay what's fair. And as always, you always talk directly with me or my lovely wife, Kimberly. So save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040. That's 303 Law 4040.
A friend asked me the other day why I loved being in the diamond and jewelry business so much. I'm Shayna Williams.
And I'm Dylan Williams from Williams Jewelers. It's not just about shiny rocks, precious metals, and meticulous craftsmanship from the world's very best.
It's really about you.
It's your life and loves. It's about your moments and the ones that define you.
It's the birthdays, the anniversaries, the birth of a child. It's when you're on one knee asking the love of your life to spend forever together with you.
For 3 generations now here in Denver, you've trusted Williams Jewelers with the most important moments in your life.
That's what's precious to us.
And why we love what we do here at Williams Jewelers every day.
You see, our why is you.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
Williams Jewelers of Inglewood, the official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche. In Inglewood at Broadway and Bellevue, and right now online at williamsdiamonds.com.
Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Football is back, and it's time for you to get in the game. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan is here to help, and we're giving away a PlayStation 5 bundle. Download the Denver Sports app and tap the contest banner on the homepage for your chance to win a PS5 console, a 70-inch flat-screen TV, plus copies of Madden 26 and College Football 26. Don't wait. Download the Denver Sports app now. 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike and Dante on a Friday night. Bud Light Football Friday. Broncos and Eagles on Sunday. Rams and Aztecs set to kick off a little less than 90 minutes from now down in San Diego. And the Buffs and the Home Frogs of TCU will go at it in Fort Worth tomorrow.
Real quick, Mike, before
yes.
we get into the actual topic. Have you ever been to a game in Philadelphia? Any sporting event there?
No, I have not. That is one of the major cities I have. The only time I've been to Philly is when I had an unexpected flight diversion, and we stayed on the runway for like 2 hours. I may even had to. No, I had to spend the night at the airport. Spend in a hotel at the airport. So I never got into the city. I've never been to Philly.
Okay, neither have I. I was just curious if the reputation lives up to it as far as their fan base, being, nuts when you go to an Eagles game or a Phillies game.
I mean, everything they say is absolutely. I mean, the old saying about Philly fans will boo Santa Claus.
Yes.
So I think, yes, absolutely. And I was listening to Stink this morning with Mike and Stoke, and he was talking about, how you get your butt handed to you verbally from the fans when you're warming up during games and all that. It was kind of fun to hear some of those old stories. So, yes, I'm sure that Bo Nix and company will hear their share of the verbal barrage.
Oh, yeah, and they'll get it. You see videos of, 10-year-olds giving it to them.
Yeah,
giving
it's like,
it to
whoa,
them.
whoa.
Like, yeah, where'd you learn those words?
Yeah, going to Eagles games and whatnot. That's great. All right, I want to touch on baseball here in our final few moments. The playoffs are going on, and the divisional series are set. Some really good wild card series. It'll be Phillies-Dodgers, Cubs-Brewers, the two matchups in the National League, and on the other side in the AL, Tigers-Mariners, Blue Jays-Yankees. But the Rockies have moved on from GM Bill Schmidt. They said in the statement this week that they will start a search outside the organization for a new head of baseball operations. Dante, I ask you, will the Rockies finally turn the page and start to make good decisions on the baseball side?
I want to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they are going to make good decisions, and we're going to see a slightly different organization moving forward than what we've seen the past, 5-10 years or so. I think yes. I'm reassured by Walker Monfort's comments in the press release as well. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a new era of Rockies baseball.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. And when Charlie Monfort spoke with the Denver Post, it was probably about June or so, and said, to paraphrase Charlie, I think we need a fresh set of eyes on this thing. And then right after that, Walker spoke with Channel 9 and reiterated that. I really do believe that there will be some meaningful changes. If they go out and hire someone, and one of the names is Thad Levine, who, of course, was GM of the Twins previously, who spent time in the Rockies organization. If they hire somebody from outside the organization that's been here before, I could easily be down with that because there's experience in another stop. Levine's teams didn't have super success, but at the same time, at least it's somebody who's worked outside the organization, which we know the Rockies typically don't do, is hire from without. The first step, though, and I have had a good feeling that they will turn the page and they will start to make decisions that, number one, Dante, you have to make decisions that stop you from being the laughingstock or a laughingstock in your industry. And that's what the Rockies are right now from an industry perspective, certainly in Denver. Fans, I think, are tired of where they've been. And so I am hopeful. I'm always hopeful with the Rockies. We've seen them be successful, but the fact of the matter is it's not just about picking somebody from outside the organization. The second big part of that, Dante, is the Rockies have to give that person or people, maybe it's a president of baseball operations and a general manager, which I would love to see. They have to give whomever they bring in the power and the authority and the freedom to execute the vision that those guys have. Period. The end. If you bring somebody in and don't empower them, and Dick Monfort's going to continue to make the baseball decisions or continue to have the oversight to where it's too much, then realistically, it's tough to expect any kind of meaningful change and steps forward in terms of the baseball product.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right on board with you. You have to empower whoever you hire. And that's why I think the hiring process and the interview process is so important, that you have to be on the same page as whoever you hire. You can't hire him, and when he pitches the vision in the interview, like, I agree with some of this, I don't agree with all of it. You have to be very much on the same page once you make that hire and allow him to do his job the way he wants to. And hopefully you agree with all of that during the interview process and during the hiring process, to the point where you don't feel the need to step in and, kind of micromanage his role at that point.
I believe two things. I believe this is a situation where quality candidates do want and do believe they can be successful here running the baseball ops and turning this into a winner. And number two is you have got to find people that are committed to it, that you give the freedom to, and make no mistake, word is out in the industry that if you don't have that freedom, maybe wait for the next opportunity. So I think it's really incumbent upon the front office and incumbent upon Dick to say, all right, we're going to empower those guys. If they do, it could get fun. It's not an overnight fix, though.
No, it's not like next year they're gonna go out and make the playoffs or anything like that. I just hope they show a more competitive side of them than what we've seen the last 2-3 years here.
100 plus losses, and darn near historical worst. Got to do better than that. Have a great weekend, my friend.
You too, Mike.
That's Dante Gomez, Mike Rice. Thanks for hanging with us on Denver Sports tonight. Enjoy all the games. We'll talk to you Sunday on Broncos pregame and also Monday on Denver Sports Tonight.
Has a Broncos wide receiver already proven that they're worth every penny?
To all the people that said, re-signing Cortland, too much money, he's not a real number one, not a true, quote-unquote number one, whatever that really means. He's been a huge, huge positive for Bo Nix and Bo Nix's development. He's a pro.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement. Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Bonnie from O'Meara Ford has convinced me they really want to earn your business. So, talk to me, Bonnie.
Well, O'Meara has over 1,000 vehicles to choose from. Plus, we have the largest service center in the region with 84 service bays. And we've sold 1 million vehicles since 1913. Our friendly staff will treat you right. And when it comes to repairs, our knowledgeable technicians do it right the first time.
There it is. O'Meara saves you time and money, whether you buy new or used. O'MearaFord.com.
Looking to sell your used Rolex watch? We buy and sell pre-owned Rolex watches. All styles, from old to new. Hi, I'm Scott Matthew with Matthew's Fine Watches and Jewelry. Bring in your Rolex watch and we will buy it on the spot. No shipping your watch off to the internet site and waiting to get a